Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to High Top Sports. Got a few things to go over today. Donald Trump steps in, tries to make essentially an executive order to get things back to order in the NIL world, which it sounds good, it looks good, it feels good. It's what we've been wanting. Can it logistically be accomplished, though? We're going to talk about it. UNC throwing the white flag, says we're done with the ACC. Get us out of here. We want to come home to the real conference in the SEC. This has been talked, obviously, a lot of teams bringing us from 16, us being the SEC, from 16 to 18. Who would those two teams be? I've always been a big fan of Clemson. The other one, I could be like, hey, it's whoever you want. I love UNC. I think they bring a great punch, great brand, especially on the basketball side of things. And I feel like they have just definitely have flipped the script here as of late. And just logistically, where they are makes a lot of sense. Miami but probably would say, hey, makes sense. FSU makes sense. But you and I, as SEC Florida fans, no, we don't want any of that. Stay in your own lane. Stay in your own corner. Go play for the Big 10. Go play for the Big 12. It is kind of weird. We'll talk about it, how the ACC is just fumbling the bag here. But in other news, really quick, our guy, look at this. Greg Sankey, just that dude, tweeted just 30 minutes ago, because the Big 10, they're having their media conference. There's like 4 people there. And they're referring to us again, being the SEC, as the other conference. Like the conference that not shall be named. And this is what he just tweeted out, saying, greetings from the other conference. I mean, this thing is getting juicy. It's just getting a nice little, just Cold War battle back and forth between these two powerhouses, subtle jabs. It's making for great, it's going to make for great TV. It's making for great. But I mean, I've always said NFL's done a great job with their marketing. Like, it's perfect. It is in every aspect of the way. They do a phenomenal job of selling that brand. And college football does too. Like, they don't have any issues with it whatsoever. But how do you become the best? And in a world where the WWE is making a surging return, where like the semantics and the antics that come with the back and forth, look, we've always loved it, but it's definitely becoming more front and center. And I feel like these guys are playing into it. They're definitely eating it up. These guys, the commish, the coaches, like they're leaning heavily into it, for sure. What we're gonna do is what we always do in these moments. We're gonna capitalize, and we're gonna make a T-shirt. We gonna make a T-shirt, we rock and roll. We rock and roll. The other conference is gonna be fresh. And if you guys want me, you can scoop it up. I mean, why wouldn't we capitalize on what makes us great? Us being the SEC. Let's say a quick little shout out to the chat. Scott 020, Jimbo SEC. Well, yeah, and Ozzy. A lot of people going lately, man. Hulk Hogan took an L today. Ozzy yesterday. Rest in peace, man. To some legends, to say the least. It's been a wild ride the last couple of days. And young ones. 78 old boys. I know we want to think it's old, but it's, I used to think 30's old. I'm here now. It ain't old. 70, you got some life left. You should have some life left. Let's see. TJ, get ready for bed. Then Shelton goes live. Guess I'm not going to bed. Sometimes we got to dive in. Look, here's the good thing, boys. It's the last Thursday until we have football until February. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna let this Thursday go to waste. Like, let's in a way start it now. Let's have fun on our last non-football Thursday. Like, let that sink in. We've made it. Like, we have made it through just the driest spell of what people want to call life in between football. It's weird. It's really gross. But we've made it, okay? We've got football next Thursday and for the foreseeable future. And then we're going to get to that stretch where there's no joke. There's football on every single day for like a month and a half. Y'all know what I'm talking about, because we'll get those like weird late, like out of conference college games, right? Those lower end on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then at that point, you're set, because Monday and Thursday, obviously occupied by the NFL. Friday always has college football. Saturday, and then it's just a nice little repetitive rotation. It'll come. I can't remember exactly when that date is, but that'll be the next milestone marker for us and the boys, But the other conference, great stuff. Keith Richards next. We just calling people to croak. All right, boys, let's get after it. Let's talk about the big news. What happened today with old DJ stepping in, and what we're hoping is laying the hammer, creating some barriers. These are things that we've been clamoring for, right? For this to happen. Can it be what we want it to be. That part I don't know, but just to kind of give you kind of a quick little summary of what's happening, right? It's an executive order that could affect it. The whole idea of this is to ban booster money, that behind under the table, the bag money. We hear about it because what's the irony here is that when the NIL was originally rolled out was to eliminate the bad guy, to have some transparency that, hey, they're going to go here based on NIL deals, that this school signs them a legal NIL marketing opportunity based on their popularity. Like, that's where this all stemmed from. It obviously did not start that way, and it became way messier than what was intended. And that's where we got into the rev share era. Like, that was just like, it had to happen because it was so messy that it immediately went to pay to play. It wasn't supposed to be, but we all know that it was. Like, it wasn't a secret. As much as they want to say that it wasn't a secret. What's crazy is how poorly this has been done. Imagine if you, at your job, rolled something out this atrociously. And the crazy thing is, it's just like the government and just in real life. It's like they just kind of keep going. Like, it's okay. Like, no big deal. Not a problem at all. If we did that, we would be dragged through the coals. That's beside, I digress. Okay. So the whole point of it now is he wants to get back to that of, look, the rev share is there. So you're still getting paid from the rev share, from the $20 million that's getting divvied up to each school per conference. Okay. And then the only other payment that should be happening is the true NIL contracts, which we've talked about that. There's already something that's being pushed to the House that you're supposed to, if you do get an NIL deal, you have to, if it's over $600, report that to the IRS. Like, these are things, these aren't new. We've been hearing these, but it hasn't really been moving. So he drops the gavel today of like, hey, you gotta rock and roll. Okay. You can still earn money for being a big star, but you can't be auctioned off like a free agent, which again, we want. That's just exactly what we need to hear. The other thing that I actually love a lot is savings for the smaller sports. So he's also going to enforcing, trying to say, hey, making the big monies keep supporting women's and Olympic sports, right? So you can't come back on track and field to pay your 5-star quarterback. Like, this is going to be a lot of money for your football team and your basketball teams, but you still need to be able to maintain a healthy income and revenue stream for these other sports, which I am a huge component of, a huge fan of, because and here's the thing, right? We've heard this all the time. When you walk into a bathroom and it's like, hey, please don't stand on the sink and piss or stand on the toilet and piss in the sink. The reason that rule is there is because it's happened before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have to put that rule on the wall if it hadn't happened. Like, that, how do you even come across that rule? Well, hey, we walked in one time and there was like 3 people doing it, so we had to put the sign up. That's what this is. Like, it's people are obviously talking about, hey, we're gonna just cut out these sports and give it all to these 2 sports, and we don't care about this. Like, you can't control what we do with our money. He's like, no, we can. So that's huge, right? Like, that to me is an important piece that needs to happen, and should be upheld. Again, it's a piece that won't be talked about because it's not a sexy part of the conversation in regards to the like, obviously the pay for play crackdown, which we here on this channel, we talk about that more, right? About the football aspect of it, but the protecting of non-football sports is extremely huge. Like, anybody who has a child in a non-football sport, like, we're all either parents or going to be parents of this one day. Like, we want this more than you could realize. It's huge. The big thing is to maintain that students are not employees, which is funny because I did an article about this because OSU's Coach Gundy wanted them to be treated like employees, right? And not students. But he also wants to, hey, look, we want to maintain, you guys are still athletes. You're college athletes. You are not employees, no paychecks, no unions. Like, we don't want this to happen because then, yeah, I mean, there's a rabbit hole you can get down for sure on that one. So that's where he is on that. Now, what does it mean? How much can he really do here? So what he's doing is he's putting the feds on the job. Like, he's telling somebody like, hey, you need to get on top of this, right? The DOG, the labor, education, they all have a 30 days to come up with a game plan to enforce these things that he just said, right? It's got to get passed. Like, there's still things that have to happen. And you can't like just drop the hammer like an executive order. It's just like everyone's like, yep, let's drop it. There's still like levels to it. I'm trying to understand it as best that I can to to dumb it down for all of us. I mean, I'm not like that dialed into it. But basically, like kind of the analogy that I try to muster up is like, hey, think of a restaurant owner yelling, like, hey, we gotta clean this place up, right? And then you're sending in the health inspector, the manager, the janitor to get it done. Like it's a blitz cleanup. Like all these guys got to come in, they manage their own little parts and they've got to figure it out. But the manager still has like 900 things he's got to do. So it's like he's not going to be all in on it. He just realizes there's a problem. I'm putting all the experts in charge to figure out what's the best game plan here. And then we'll come back and we'll make sure that it's being held to its standard. Here's the thing. I don't know how you, like, how do you honestly, how do you manage the bag money part? Like you weren't supposed to do it before and it was happening. And it's crazy because the fact that we thought this was going to get rid of it. We thought when NIL happened, it was going to be, all gone. And so let's like it's all been so quickly. But if you remember the timeline of this NIL, how it first started is collectives were born, and we're like, yeah, this is really cool. Collectives are gonna. And I remember like we were doing our channel when it started with the Gator Collective, and I remember reaching out to like Eddie and those guys who were running it at the time, and I go, so are you like it? I didn't know, right? I'm like, are you like an agent? Like, what is this relationship between you and the athletes? It's like, exactly, we are their agents. So I remember thinking like, oh wow, this is cool. Like they basically pick Florida. Then Florida has the collective, which is a representation of them who manages all their deals. Like that is their manager. There isn't any outside sources. And so then they facilitate deals for them based on their popularity. And that's it. Like that's how naive I was to the situation. And I think that's what it was intended to be like. That was what they were hoping it to be. And then obviously the smart people in the room got together and it's like, hey, we actually can be really smart about it. We're going to get agents for the players. These guys, big boosters were like, hey, we can pay them through this. Like, yeah, just give so-and-so an NIL deal for whatever. I don't care. But let's give him $1 million and we'll call him. He'll come read one little ad for me. We'll call it even. Like, we don't care. Like, we're just now able to, we were paying him $1 million before, but it was off the books. Now it's on the books. I can write it off. Like, this is awesome. That's where it went. And so that was how it was kind of being facilitated. Not like, again, I'm not saying the collective, like all collectives were doing this. Like this was a very small factor of it. And then it's expanded where, look, they are getting genuine deals. That's where Florida Victorious has done a phenomenal job of staying in between the lines and know what they're supposed to do, right? And then, of course, you have now the rev share era where the school is paying the player. Two healthy components paying money. But you still have the rich guys that go, well, now what are we going to do with our money? We're not going to give it to this company or to this organization. We don't trust them. We're just going to go back behind the paywall again and pay these guys. So it's just a messy thing. And so again, I don't know how Trump and his orders and who's going to come in and fix all this, but I don't know. They can write off NIL money. So look, you have to understand, like if you're advertising money, you can write off. Yes. So if you are a business and you choose to sponsor somebody or choose to hire somebody to advertise your brand, that's an advertisement cost. That is a write-off, 1,000%. Yeah. So yes, that's what's crazy to think is that they were able to go through those collectives before and write off that money when prior to that they weren't probably able to do that. I'm sure they've probably found ways. But yeah, it's extremely messy. And again, this is a great step. How much of it will be actually executed is still left to be unknown. Because we talked about this 2 weeks ago, where a rule was being sent to, I don't know, the Senate, one of the jurisdictions to get passed, so they could clean this thing up. I don't know if this is similar to that, if he's like doubling down of like, hey, we need to hurry up on this, him being Trump. That part I don't know. There's just so many still unknowns. But yeah, I love it. I'm glad that it has, in my opinion, the positive is that it has garnered so much attention that we've obviously got Trump stepping in and saying something. Now, something else that was done is, let me see if I bookmark it. I should have. Gosh dang it, I didn't. The Alabama somebody was in extreme support of it, which again, like that's probably like, oh, like he's spending all the money. But I like seeing the coaches back this. I think it's important for all schools to support this type of messaging. I mean, we've got to get a common ground. And we've been talking about it on our show on the Monday Mashup with Ty. He wants uh, old Saban to come back and run as commish. Like there needs to be a point of contact for this entire organization. Right now, there isn't one. And that's why it is what it is. It is absolute mayhem. And it's also why we have this SEC drama, the Big Ten drama, because we don't have a commissioner. I don't know how they can come to these grounds to figure this thing out, but we need it. We need it more than ever. The sport's getting too big. It needs some barriers and some control. The thing is, it's so powerful and it moves so fast. It's like a locomotive that it's not going to go off the rails because it's so powerful. It's hard for it. The problem is, like a locomotive, though, my concern is that it's going to get going so fast. It's so big that when it does crash, it's going to be disastrous if it gets to that point because of how massive this thing is. So I think you've got to try to find a captain for this locomotive to know when to slow down at certain turns and when to weave and lay off the gas a little bit. That's where I believe that we're at. Thoughts, suggestions in the comment section. Again, the reason I like to talk about these things when they come out, because the articles get released, they're jargon up with big fat words. You think you know what's going on, but we're kind of wondering if we do know what's going on. We'll see. So wanted to talk about it and give my thoughts and my perspective on it. Hopefully kind of talking like we talk through these things to maybe be able to digest it some more. The big summary of again is like it's a step, but it's still not exactly what we need. Like if you're telling these guys, like what I would love to hear in 30 days is they come out and say, here's how we're going to maintain this. Here's how we're going to withhold to make sure there isn't any bag money being spent. That's like, I would imagine that's like trying to manage tip money from the IRS or stripper money. You know what I mean? Like they're not claiming those dollar bills flying in the air. How do you claim all those dollars? Like that's the equivalent. You're not. You're writing off a certain amount. You're like they know. So what the IRS will do and what the staff can do is that you kind of know, hey, this person's worth X, and we can look at the salary, and you in a sense you kind of assume that they're being funded elsewhere because it's like I know your value as a player is this, and between your NIL evaluation and contract deals you've signed and the deal that Alabama is claiming that you're paying doesn't line up. It doesn't make sense. You're not taking that much of a pay cut to be here. And again, I don't know if you can do that, but the IRS thought process is because they know across the board from businesses like, hey, typically when you're in this business, you make X amount of money. So we're going to tax you on the average. If you don't report the income entirely, we automatically assume that you made the average. That's how they function. So that's a thought, but I don't even think that makes sense, to be honest with you. I'm trying to figure it out, I'm trying to figure it out. The real owner sniper, I think the entities are scared of being sued. Elaborate on the entities. What are we talking about pissing and sinks? Was this because of my comment? Is this where the chat goes because of my analogy that I used? This is what upper deckers in the first magnitude brewing. What's up, bro? How do we take my story and my comparison and we go off the complete Richters here? I look away for 5 seconds and this is where we're at. That's unbelievable. What is with this chat? This is I'm in complete shock here. Well, I'm not. I met you people. I'm not in shock. I just thought we were having a healthy conversation, healthy dialogue, You're right. It's my fault. I brought 100%. I brought it up. I go, hey, we should all go piss in the sinks tomorrow. That was that's on me. That's on me. It's exactly what I said. Smash the like button at least. All right. Show some love and drop a little love, baby. All right. Let's talk about this one here. Some talks about UNC head on over to the SEC, which I would love. I think it'd be an awesome pickup. Again, one of those things where it seems too far out because right now the ACC exit fee is $165 million. So that would be the covering cost. It's like a buyout, right, for UNC to come rolling on through. And then in 2030, it'll be down to $75 million, much cheaper than what it would be if they were to leave now. So all of this is possible due to that Clemson FSU lawsuit, right? That it allowed for the, you know, to enforce this heavy fee exit. But obviously FSU has been clamoring for it. Clemson has talked about it as well. They kind of got into that pissing contest with them last year. Any team that is able to leave the SEC is extremely beneficial for them. Like, it's a win-win for everyone that's involved. UNC would eat this up. And again, I think the only big thing that would be lost here would be that Duke UNC rivalry. But in basketball, you can schedule multiple out of conference games, so they could probably still figure that out. I don't think it would go away. You would lose that ACC battle, but it's look, we're kind of losing all those things across all sports, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I mean, in UNC and that Duke, it's a great rivalry. It's been around forever. It's fantastic. I wouldn't want it to go away. That would be my only knock for it if they were to leave. But like I said, as an SEC fan, I know earlier in the show, I would greatly appreciate UNC. You guys saying Virginia Tech? VT, I would love Clemson over Virginia Tech, but maybe because South Carolina doesn't feel how we feel about Florida Miami, they wouldn't want another South Carolina team in there. So I could see where that could be a little bit of a pushback for them. So maybe, yeah, a VT would be good. West Virginia's in the Big 12. I like West Virginia over there. I'm trying to think of schools in that vicinity, so that works. What's crazy to me is seeing this, how the SEC or the ACC tries to portray themselves as there's like this great conference, and we continue to say that they're complete ass, and they're on the brink of becoming the next Pac-12, non-existent. It just shows how piss poor management, because the Pac-12 had a ton of juice with the schools they had. They just mismanaged their situation. They didn't do a great job with it. And the ACC, I don't think they have great schools. They've got SMU. I want to talk about SEC being top heavy. The ACC is, you look up top heavy in the dictionary, and it's literally the ACC logo. You've been carried by Clemson for a decade now. So with a little bit of quick little shiny lights of FSU, it's asinine to me. But I prefer a Big 12 school. I mean, there's a lot more schools over there that excite me. Texas Tech is an interesting one. When you see a lot of these schools, like, I feel like North Carolina has really come out of the works with this new NIL era. Like, they're like, hey, we got money, we can flex it. It's weird because it's like, well, you've always had this money, you weren't cheating like everybody else. Kudos to you. Because they have not been quiet about spending their money. You go and sign Bill Belichick to a massive contract. They've been extremely aggressive in the portal. They've been loud, I would say, in regards to UNC recruiting, and showing like, hey, we got the big bucks to spend it. We want to play with the big dogs now. We've got the funds to do it. We just need the marketing. We need to be associated with a good brand, so our money is being well spent. And I think Texas Tech fills into that perfectly. Like, that's another school that, now I think, again, the Big 12 has done a phenomenal job of capitalizing on who they are as a brand. They've owned it. They've done a great job of building up those guys. I think ASU made a phenomenal run last year. Their big message for their media day was like, we have parity in our league, top to bottom. We have the most depth of competitive football in this conference. And I don't disagree with them. And they agree, like, hey, we don't have those top tier echelon guys like the SEC and the Big Ten, but top to bottom, you don't know who's going to win, and you don't. ASU was picked to finish last. Like, that thing's wide open every single year. And they even agree we need to get a little bit of top heavy like the SEC to create some dominance. But I think that Texas Tech is in a good place to become that face for the Big 12. So just schools that I was thinking that were, because you hear the noise about the super conference, and with this noise happening and the SEC looking to go to 18, Purdue's already at 18, or Big Ten's already at 18. Do you just go to 20, right? Do you take two more? You take two from the ACC, and I don't know how you shove out the Big 12. Do you go to 3? Does maybe the ACC just get dispersed? 4 go to the SEC, 2 go to the Big 10, and 2 go to the Big 12, and you've got 3 conferences, 3 leagues. It's possible. I don't know. The ACC's losing it, though. The ACC's losing it for sure. Louisville and Kentucky play every year. That's SEC and ACC. In basketball, they do. Again, I think Duke and North Carolina could figure it out, but they play what 3 or 4 times now though because it's conference play. You play a lot more. Maybe it's just 3. We're out of conference. Like we only play, I think, Florida State in basketball once. I want to say, like it's in like December for basketball. For basketball. So look, I think it'd be an interesting pickup if North Carolina were to come. I would love it. I would love it a lot. It would be great. It would be especially with Bill Belichick if he does stay. What that would do for just more of the excitement. All right, this was a fun last little story here that I saw before we were hopping on. This is a DM. It's on Instagram. It looks like it's Instagram between a player from where was it? Memphis, who's ranked, and I want to say UTSA were the two schools that were involved in this messaging here. Let me pull it up to make sure that I got it right. Yeah, UTSA, the Roadrunners. So the Memphis DB Taj Ra sent Owen McCown, who is the guy with the 2 messages. Owen is the UTSA guy. He is the laughing emojis or the crying emojis. The Memphis player is the purple bubble. So you could see above that like top thing, he sent the playbook. And then he sent like a breakdown, right? Of what like who to cover and how to cover him. Wild times that this is happening. Why I don't know. An On3 Memphis reporter obtained the messages and they broke the message. This is the On3 just dialed in. I mean, one of the most diabolical stories of the offseason right now. And the Roadrunners went on to win to 44-36. And at half, it was like 24-14. When I took a look at the score, Memphis was tearing them up. And number 0, I think, got hurt during that game, who he's talking about as well. So my thing is, again, going back to the us pissing in the sink story, right? You don't put a sign up until it happens. Well, you also have to think about, okay, this is how many times has this happened? I just caught it this one time, and now I have to put a sign up. They're just now catching these DMs. Now, and again, you got to assume these things have always been a factor. I would never think that it was, but now I feel like it is, right? Like the level. I'm thinking like Michigan and oh boy, Connor Stallions type stuff. Like this is what this is. I mean, maybe not to the same level, but he's over here giving the cheat sheet. There's all the signals. Like you know what they're going to call. Now, how does Owen walk up to coach and be like, hey, I know what's coming? I don't know. Like, you would hope the coach would go, hey, what are we doing here? Sad times. Crazy, though. Crazy. I mean, is it happening in all sports, though? I'm sure it happens more than we think. I just never thought that it would. Yeah, it is crazy, dude. It's absolutely, it's diabolical. It's diabolical, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, fun little story, I guess. But look at this. I love my. Let's talk a little Florida football real quick. Jane Batesy, his artwork's incredible. What I would give for a Batesy's like photo of my cartoon face. Right? This is far worse than Connor in Michigan. You think so? You think so? I don't know. That is an interesting question. Is it far? I don't think so. Two kids on a football team just being dumb. I don't know. Well, boys, great little pop-up show for the little college football show Thursday night here. Little Thursday night football. Again, Sunday, you know what we're going to be rocking and rolling with live at First Magnitude Brewery. Super pumped to meet you guys. If I haven't met you or see you once again, it's going to be a fantastic time. Got all the audio stuff figured out, which we've been kind of working with Magnitude Brewing on that, how that was going to work for our live panel, which will also be live stream if you can't make it. So we're super excited. Super excited for all that. I think it's going to be really cool. Levi, 21 months of membership that won't go through. Great to be a Gator. Stomp everyone. High top number 1. Thanks, Levi. I appreciate it, big guy, for your 21th member chat. It's a long time, almost 2 years, baby. Almost 2 years. Good stuff. Well, y'all be good. Be safe. Happy Thursday night. Tomorrow I'll be hanging out with my boy Stephen Harris, more than likely. So, y'all be good. Stay safe. We'll see you this weekend. Let's have some fun. 2 to 5 on Sunday. Get your tickets if you have not yet. We love y'all. Peace and love, baby.